Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. We have the latest Deshaun Watson news, rumors, updates, buzz, all that good stuff coming your way on today's show because there's a lot of ground to cover when it comes to number 4 here. After the NFL appealed the Honorable Judge Sue L. Robinson's decision, we're now in a bit of a limbo of 6 games might multiply and it might turn into bunnies here. So we're going to go back to our old friend Bernie Kosar, number 19, and go to some Bernie heads here for a bit of like a scale of believability for some of these rumors. First rumor up. Are we screwed? Right? Just encompassing everything that's happened since the NFL decided to appeal the 6-game suspension, I give it 3 Bernie heads. I'm not at a 4, right? I'm not all the way at burn everything down, the season is lost. I'm not at a 1 or a 2, though. I think someone would be lying to you if they were nonchalant about what has transpired the last 24 hours. Because now the NFL is looking to give Deshaun Watson what they wanted all along, which is an indefinite suspension here. Now, the league also wants to add additional fines because when Watson got suspended 6 games, he was only going to be docked his paychecks for the first 6 weeks, which totaled $345,000. And you go back to last year when he was with the Texans, he did not miss out on a dime here. And so I understand, and I kind of frankly agree with the NFL being like, you know what, you're not just going to miss out on $345,000. The only positive way I see coming out of this is that the NFL goes, we actually don't have an issue with the number of games being suspended. We just don't think you should be able to only lose out on this much money here. So, we've got some different theories we're going to look at here. But I think an important note to make right now is if Deshaun Watson is suspended indefinitely, what does that mean exactly? Well, it means this. It means his contract would not actually start until 2023. So everything will be pushed back a year, essentially, because he wouldn't be necessarily on the Browns this year. He'd have to apply for reinstatement. I mean, if you remember, this is like Josh Gordon sort of all over again, and he would very, very likely get approved here. He'd have to show that he met the treatment that the NFL went out to see, wanted him to go out and get. But another key note is that if it is pushed back a year, what does that mean for Deshaun Watson? Well, he loses a year of playing football. And not only that, but his contract gets pushed back a year. So the next time he's a free agent, he's 1 year older. And being older doesn't really help you a lot when you are in free agency for getting another big contract. So 1 year could take away a decent amount of money from his next contract. That's something to keep an eye on here. Now, we had this come out earlier today, and then we got an update, and we're going to look at the update later on. But Pro Football Talk was right on the money, saying per source, Roger Goodell will not personally handle the Deshaun Watson appeal. We just got word literally a couple minutes before started filming about who he has designated, and we're going to have that for you at the end of the show. But it's Peter C. Harvey. We'll tell you more about our guy Peter later on. But I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and it's got a lot of legs to it. It's got a lot of momentum, all right? It's Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, who's sort of been tapped in and like pretty well in the know when it comes to this. But here's what he tweeted out. NFL's appeal of Deshaun Watson sanctions from multiple sources. Option number 1. 1 year indefinite suspension plus treatment, no monetary fine. Or, if suspension is less than 1 year, it will carry a significant fine plus treatment. So treatment's going to happen no matter what. What does treatment really mean? It means going to a counselor and not having any massage therapy sessions that were not approved or ran by the team, the Browns here. But unanswered questions. How many games and what is the corresponding fine? So let's look at both of these options a little closer. Option number 1. Watson is suspended indefinitely. He seeks treatment and he applies for reinstatement. The big benefit for this one for Deshaun Watson is he doesn't lose out on a ton of money, right? He doesn't have to actually be fined at all this year. His contract gets pushed back a year, which also could lead to him losing money down the road, like we mentioned a few moments ago, because he will end up having to be, he'll end up reaching his, or looking for a new contract a little older in his career. Now, as for the Browns, they don't have Deshaun Watson for a year. That sucks. You don't want that to happen, right? You would like to get Deshaun Watson on the field this year because Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to wait much longer after a losing record last season. You don't want to have back-to-back disappointing years. Option number 2, Watson suspended about 12 games. That's been a popular number tossed out so far, and we'll look at why in just a second. He faces fines of about $10.5 million. That's also been a number tossed out. The NFL was like, you made that much-ish last year. We don't think you should be able to walk away with this with only a $345,000 fine. Now, there are some people who are not well in the know on what's going on with Andrew Berry and how he orchestrates contracts. Because a lot of people looked at Deshaun Watson's contract and were like, hey, this is BS here. Why is he only making $1.5 million-ish? That way the Browns don't. That way he does not lose much money if he's suspended. All right. I think option number 2 is a little BS for a couple of reasons. One, there's a rumor out that it's the Texans pushing not to play the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson in Week 13 because the bye week would not count towards a suspension here. Are we serious right now? Like, the number 12 is sticking out because the Texans don't want to play Deshaun Watson in his first year on his new team? If that was always a big factor for the NFL, who, by the way, gets to decide the schedule, it's not a lottery. Why didn't they just put the Texans earlier in the schedule, right? If the actual driving factor or if any sort of factor for a 12-game suspension is because of a potential rematch between Watson and Houston in Week 13, this is BS. Again, the NFL picks the schedule. Why wouldn't they just move it earlier if that was really such a concern for them? Like, if you want to suspend him 12 games because Judge Robinson declared that he violated the personal conduct policy, I'm not going to get my panties in a bunch over that. But I am if it's because of the Texans don't want to play Deshaun Watson. Blasphemy, Steve screaming at here. But I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and I thought I'd let you guys chime in. Do you regret trading for Deshaun Watson, right? If you had an undo button, would you go back in time and just stick with Baker and never go through all this? Or if you're like, you know what, even if the Browns and we don't have Watson for the next year, it's fine, it's worth it. He's a superstar quarterback. Let me know down in the comment section. Next story on today's show. Deshaun Watson / the NFLPA, are they going to be suing the NFL? I'm going to go 2 Bernie heads. I'm kind of in the middle on this because there are some pros and cons to both of these, both that happening. Excuse me here. All right, so the rumor sort of started with Charles Robinson from Yahoo tweeting out and talking about whether or not here that the NFL might be looking to, for the NFLPA might be looking to suspend, or excuse me, for them to sue the NFL right now. We've seen this happen before. I'm trying to get my thoughts organized here. We've seen this happen before. Look for it, sorry. We have seen this happen before of Ezekiel Elliott and Tom Brady looking to suing the NFL when they did not get their way, but it's not quite the same, right? It isn't the same as how it was before here because, one, you have Judge Robinson, an independent arbitrator, who ruled that Deshaun Watson violated the personal conduct policy. So now you've got that going for you right there, all right? And then Josina Anderson put this on Twitter. Some are asking when Deshaun Watson would start to play and whether a potential temporary restraining order could be sought to get him playing Week 1. My understanding is the NFLPA statement still stands, and at the time to abide by Robinson's ruling, thereby not pursuing Week 1 via, I don't know what TRO really stands for, but going through the legal process of, yep, we are not going to sue, and there's not going to be this injunction handed down, and Watson gets to play, right? That's sort of the avenue that maybe the NFLPA could take in order to get Watson on the field. I don't see that being all that likely because the NFLPA, and we'll look at this in a moment here, they may not be in a good position to take the league to court here. Here's what Charles Robinson said in his article. Watson may be at a larger disadvantage than either of those players because neither Brady nor Elliott went through an independent arbitrator to determine whether or not they had violated the league's personal conduct policy. Watson did not. That excuse me. I lost my train of thought there. Watson did, and the arbitrator said clearly in her decision that he violated the policy when he was deemed to have committed nonviolent sexual conduct here. So, the NFLPA, will they be looking to sue, right? The league is probably not very keen on having this go to court because all of a sudden, Daniel Snyder, the Robert Kraft stuff, could be aired out a little bit here. Might come to light. That might be a big factor on the NFL side to look to settle, to avoid seeing this go to court. Now, for all of you guys saying, well, Tom Brady went to court and he got to play. It's not the same. Why? You had an arbitrator like Sue Robinson rule, yeah, Deshaun Watson violated the personal conduct policy. That's not up for debate. What's up for debate here is how many games should he be suspended. So if it goes to court, the Court of Appeals or whatever it is in New York is going to go, I'm sorry, what are we actually debating here? I thought your arbitrator, a former U.S. district judge, ruled he violated the personal conduct policy. That's going to be thrown at the NFLPA pretty quickly here. But let me ask this question because I think it's pretty inevitable at this point. Deshaun Watson will be facing a suspension. So, how many games will Watson be suspended? Let me know down in the comment section what your prediction is. 12 seems like it's very much in the ballpark. And I hate to say it, but that's kind of my gut reaction right now. Now, we've got one big story to get to in just a second, but we've got a subscriber battle going on here at Chat Sports between the Browns Report and the Ravens Rundown. And I want to bury our Ravens channel. So we're starting fresh in the month of August, couple days in now, and we've got more than a double-sized lead on them. Let's tack on to it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you hate the Ravens, make sure you hit that big red button. All right, third and final story that broke right before we started filming. It's Roger Goodell not handling the appeal. Yeah, for Bernie heads. He is not. And a big reason why this might be is so that he can try and paint some light of, no, it was never going to be about me. I was never going to have the final say. Judge Robinson still had an important decision in this. So I'm going to hand it off to someone else, all right? And he has picked who that designee is, all right? Or designee is Peter C. Harvey, New Jersey Attorney General. That's our new guy, right? That's our new Sue Robinson. We're going to find out everything there is to know about Peter Harvey because here's the deal. Whatever Peter Harvey decides, that's it. That is the end of the road. There are no appeals after that. It is a closed case. Dunzo. So before we check out more on this in just a second, there's an awesome deal going on at Fanatics with a t-shirt combo 40% off. When you go to chatsports.com/Browns combo, you're not going to get one t-shirt. You're going to get two. 40% off. Now, that link's in the comments and the description, so make sure you are repping some Browns gear, which I understand a lot of people right now don't want to give any money to the NFL. I'm not going to really be mad at you for that, but if you want to support the Brownies and you still love the Browns, make sure you do it in style with this t-shirt combo. Here was the Adam Schefter tweet that dropped right before we started filming. NFL teams were just notified that former New Jersey Attorney General Peter C. Harvey is Commissioner Roger Goodell's designee to hear the appeal of the disciplinary decision involving Deshaun Watson, per sources. All right, he followed that up with saying Peter C. Harvey served as the Attorney General of New Jersey and is now a partner of the Patterson-Belknap firm in New York. No idea what that is. He also served as a federal prosecutor. He has deep expertise in criminal law, including domestic violence and sexual assault. Welcome to Kangaroo Court, right? The NFL, I mean, it's just Geppetto. He gets to Roger Goodell, sure, is maybe not the one that's ultimately issuing a ruling here, but think about it. Would he pick someone that might leave it up to chance? No. He's definitely picking someone who is seeing eye to eye here. All he's doing here is trying to make the public look one direction and say, see, we had no issue with the independent arbitrator. We honored Judge Robinson's decision. No, he went with another arbitrator. By the way, Peter Harvey, yeah, he was on the NFL side when it came to Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott back in 2017. So something tells me he's not going to be on the friendliest of terms with the Browns and issuing a suspension for Deshaun Watson. All right, before we get on out of here, this office had a big debate today. Are the Browns the NFL villains? V for villains or P for pass. We talked about this on our live show on Monday when the Deshaun Watson initial suspension came out. I didn't think they were because I really couldn't picture a villain that has had so little success for a long period of time. But maybe they are now, right? Maybe they are the bad guys with Deshaun Watson. So let me know what you're thinking down below.